Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today we are going to start our new lesson number 6, Animals Classification, and we will cover all these points through the video lecture. Introduction of lesson, history of animals classification, traditional method of animals classification, and criteria for animals classification. In our surroundings, we see variety of animals around us. Some are terrestrial, while some are aquatic. Some animals crawl on land, while some swim in water, whereas some fly in the sky. Some animals have scales on skin, whereas some have feathers or hairs. In this way, we can see huge variety in animals too. According to recent study, estimated number of animal species on the earth is approximately 7 millions. It is impossible to study each and every animal individually. However, if we make groups and subgroups of animals depending upon the similarities and differences, then it becomes very easy to study such vast variety of animals. Let's see the history of animals classification. A Greek philosopher, Aristotle, was the first to perform animals classification. This classification proposed by him is called as artificial method of classification. He classified animals based on the criteria like body size, habit, and habitats. Beside Aristotle, the artificial method of classification was also followed by Theophrastus, Pliny, John Ray, and Linnaeus. Later on, because of development in science and technology, the references were changed, and thereby the criteria of animal classification too. Then the natural system of classification brought into the practice, which was based on the criteria like body organization, types of cells, chromosomes, and biochemical properties. By the time the system of classification based on evolution was also brought into the practice. This method was followed by Dobzhansky and Mayer. Recently, the method of classification has proposed by Carl Woese. Let's see the benefits of animals classification one by one. Number 1, we know that there are millions of species of animals. So it is not possible to study all the animals in one lifetime. So study of animals become convenient because of animals classification. Next, study of few animals from a group helps us to understand about that entire animal group. It gives idea about animal evolution. Animals can be easily identified with great accuracy. It helps to understand the relationship of animals with other living organisms. It helps to understand the habitat of each animal and its exact role in the nature. It helps to understand various adaptations shown by animals. So, these all are the benefits of animal classification. The next point is traditional method of animals classification. In traditional method of animals classification, kingdom Animalia has been divided into two groups, non-chordates and chordates. Let's study the characters of chordates first. In initial period of embryonic development, notochord is present. Dear students, this notochord is a rod-like structure which support our body, and by the time after development it is transformed into the backbone, which is a vertebral column. So, the first character is body is supported by rod-like notochord. Number second, the major cord of nerve fibers is called as nerve cord. In this embryo, you can see a nerve cord which is made up of neurons, and by the time it is transformed into the brain and spinal cord. After complete development of embryo. So the second character is nerve cord is present on dorsal side of body, which is single and hollow. In embryonic condition, pharyngeal gill slits are present for respiration, which disappear, and thus lungs start performing respiration. So the third character is pharyngeal gill slits or lungs are present for respiration. Dear students, ventral side means the front side, while dorsal is the back side of every animal. Fourth character is heart is present on ventral side of the body. Let's discuss some characters of non-chordates too. Number 1. Body is not supported by rod-like notochord. Nerve cord, if present, it is on ventral side, which is solid and paired. Pharyngeal gill slits are absent. Heart, if present, it is present on dorsal side. Let's see how animal kingdom is classified into subkingdoms, different phylums and subphylums, and then classes. Main kingdom Animalia is divided into its two subkingdoms, non-chordates and chordates. These subkingdoms, that is non-chordate, is further classified into total 10 phylums. Dear students, these 10 phylums you should learn in proper sequence. So, at the initial point, you need to cram these phylums, you need to mug up these things, and that is also in sequence. So, I am just trying a trick by which you can mug up all these phylums. So let's understand all those names. There is a very simple sentence and that is also in Marathi or Konkani. That sentence is प्रोटीन वाली पुरी निदाने प्लेटमध्ये अशी आणली अर्धी मोडली इचारून हेमाला. Here different 10 words in this sentence reveals different names of phylums of subkingdom non-chordata. So here from protein wali we can remember protozoa, puri means porifera, nidane means nidaria, प्लेट मध्ये means platyhelminthes, अशी means ascalminthes, आणली annelida, अर्धी arthropoda, मोडली mollusca, इचारून echinodermata, हेमाला hemichordata. So here from likewise you can mug up all these names easily, and second subkingdom chordates is classified into one phylum Chordata, which is further classified into three subphylums Urochordata, Cephalochordata and Vertebrata. This Vertebrata subphylum has divided into 6 different classes as Cyclostomata, Pisces, Amphibia, Reptilia, Aves and Mammalia. Let's see the criteria for new system of animals classification. Dear students, actually this point is omitted from your syllabus, but you should learn it to understand remaining concepts of this lesson. If we skip this, then remaining part will go bouncer on us. So let's understand it. First criteria is grades of organization, that is body organization. We know that cell is a basic unit of every living organism. Cell organized to form tissues, tissue organized to form organs, and then organs organized to form organ system. Likewise, our body is made of. Unicellular organisms are made up of only single cell. This single cell is enough to perform all the functions of body, and that organisms referred as protoplasmic grade of organization. For example, amoeba, paramecium and euglena. That is all the animals from phylum Protozoa. Multicellular organisms are categorized into 4 different grades. Let's see one by one. Cellular grade organization. In some organisms, body is made up of with few cells. It means cells do not organize to form tissues, and that organisms are called cellular grade organization. All these cells are undifferentiated, means perform same functions. For example, animals from phylum Porifera, which includes sponges. Next grade is cell tissue grade organization. In some animals, cells organized to form tissues. With the help of it, all the functions of body are performed. Such animals show cell tissue grade organization. For example, animals from phylum Cnidaria, and the best example is jellyfish. Tissue organ grade organization. In this type of organization, tissues are organized to form some organs. However, complete organ system is not formed. It means organs do not organize to form organ system. Flatworms from phylum Platyhelminthes shows tissue organ grade organization. For example, planaria. Next is organ system grade organization. Remaining all the animals shows organ system grade of organization, in which different organs organized to form organ system. For example, crab, frog and human beings, etc. Next criteria of animal classification is body symmetry. In imaginary sense, if the body of any animal is cut through imaginary axis of body, then it may or may not produce two equal halves. Based on this property, there are different types of animal bodies. Let's see one by one. Number 1, asymmetrical body. If in the imaginary sense there is no any imaginary axis of body through which we can get two equal halves. For example, amoeba, paramecium and some sponges. Second is radial symmetry. In the imaginary sense, through imaginary axis of body, by any plane we can get two equal halves of body, which is called as radial symmetry. For example, starfish, in which through 5 different planes we can get two equal halves of its body. Number 3, bilateral symmetry. In the imaginary sense, through only one imaginary axis of body, we can get two equal halves of body. For example, insects, fishes, frog, birds, human, etc. Third is germ layers. In multicellular organisms, germ layers are formed during initial period of their embryonic development, and from those germ layers of embryo, further tissues and organs are formed. The embryo of some animals has only two germ layers. They are endoderm and ectoderm, and that animals are referred as diploblastic. For example, all the animals from phylum Cnidaria. In most of all remaining animals, embryo is made up of three germ layers. They are ectoderm, endoderm and beside it mesoderm, and thus they are called triploblastic. Next criteria is body cavity. Cavity between the body and internal organs is called body cavity or coelom. In case of multicellular animals, during initial period of their embryonic development, body cavity is formed either from mesoderm or from gut. Such type of body cavity is present in animals of phylum Annelida and all phyla coming after Annelida. Such animals are called as eucoelomate. It means animals with true body cavity. Animals from phylum Porifera, Cnidaria and Platyhelminthes are called acoelomate because of absence of body cavity. Animals from phylum Aschelminthes are called pseudocoelomate because of false body cavity. And the last criteria of animal classification is body segmentation. If the body of animal is divided into small similar units, then such body is called as segmented body and each small unit is called as segment. For example, earthworm from phylum Annelida. Characteristics of first 5 phylums of subkingdoms non-chordates. Porifera, Coelenterata, which is also called as Cnidaria, Platyhelminthes, Aschelminthes and Annelida. While writing characteristics of any phylum, we should consider following criteria like body form, habit and habitat, body symmetry, body cavity or coelom, germ layers, reproduction and some specific characteristics of that organism. Let's see one trick by which you can remember any 5 accurate characteristics of phylum, excluding protozoa which is not there in your textbook. See kingdom Animalia, which are multicellular organisms without cell wall. First criteria is body organization. In first group, cellular body organization, and in second, we place tissue organ and organ system grade of organization. Next is body symmetry. We place asymmetrical in one group, radial symmetry in second and bilateral symmetry in third group. Next criteria is body cavity or coelom. In first and second group, we place acoelomate, that is without body cavity, and in third group, we put acoelomate, pseudocoelomate and eocoelomate. After writing all these criteria, next to it is phylum. First is Porifera. After watching first line here, we can see all accurate characteristics like they are acoelomate, that is without body cavity, asymmetrical body. It means we cannot get two equal halves of its body through any imaginary axis of body. Cellular body organization, etc. Likewise, next is Coelenterata. If you see in the line of Coelenterata, you can accurately tell its characteristics like they are acoelomate with radial body symmetry, tissue organ grade of organization, etc. Next phylum is Platyhelminthes. They are acoelomate, that is without any body cavity, bilateral symmetry and tissue organ grade of organization. Next is Aschelminthes, which are pseudocoelomate with bilateral symmetry and organ system grade of organization. Next, Annelida and all the phyla coming after it shows true body cavity, that is they are eocoelomate, bilateral symmetry and organ system grade of organization. Let's see the characteristics of phylum Porifera. These animals are with simple body design and they are called as sponges. They have numerous pores on their body which are called as ossia. At the free end, there are large openings called as oscula. Singular, it is called as osculum. They are aquatic animals, mostly marine, but few are found in fresh water. Body is mostly asymmetrical. That is, we cannot get two equal halves of their body through any imaginary axis of the body. They have special cells which help to transport water through the body called collar cells. Water is taken in through ossia and given out through oscula. They reproduce asexually by means of budding and sexually by the formation of gametes. They always attach to substratum, hence do not show locomotion, so they are called as sedentary animals. Body is covered with fibers called spongin and spicules. Spicules are made up of calcium carbonate or silica. They have good ability of regeneration, that they can regenerate their lost body parts. For example, Sycon, Euspongia, which is also called as bath sponges, Hyalonema and Euplectella. Next phylum is Coelenterata, which is also called as Cnidaria. Body of these animals are cylindrical and umbrella shaped. An animal with cylindrical body are called polyp, and if it is umbrella like, they are called as medusa. Body is radially symmetrical, means through different plane of their body we can get two equal halves, and they are diploblastic, that is with two germ layers, endoderm and ectoderm. Mouth is surrounded by tentacles which are used for capturing their prey by injecting toxin in the body of prey animals through it. Tentacles have special cells called cnidoblast, which are also used for their protection. Examples are Hydra, Adamsia, which is also called as sea anemone, Physalia, which is also called as Portuguese man of war, Aurelia, that is jellyfish, and some corals. Let's study some characteristics of phylum Platyhelminthes. They have thin and leaf or ribbon-like body, and therefore they are called Platyhelminthes. Most of them are endoparasites, means they live inside the body of another organisms, while some of them are free living and found in water. Body cavity is absent and hence they are called as acoelomate, that is without any body cavity. They are bilaterally symmetrical. It means through only one imaginary axis of the body, we can get its two equal halves. They are triploblastic, means there are three germ layers: endoderm, ectoderm, and in between mesoderm. They are hermaphrodite with both the gametes in the same animals. So here hermaphrodite means an organism which contain or which possesses both the gametes, male as well as female, in the same animal. For example, planaria, liver fluke, and tapeworm, etc. Let's see the characteristics of phylum Aschelminthes. Body is long, thin, thread-like and cylindrical. They are endoparasites or free-living animals. Free-living worms are aquatic or terrestrial. Body is triploblastic and they are pseudocoelomate, means with false body cavity. Body is unsegmented and covered with thick cuticle, means we cannot get similar segment of its body. They are unisexual, means with only one gamete in the same animal, either male or female. Examples are Ascaris, which is also called as intestinal worms, filarial worms, which causes filariasis, and Loa loa worm, which are also called as eye worm. Next phylum is Annelida. Let's study some characteristics of this phylum Annelida. Body of this animal is long, cylindrical and metamerically symmetrical. Most of them are free living, found in fresh water, marine water or in soil. Some of them are ectoparasites, means they live on the body of another organism but externally. These animals are triploblastic and they are bilaterally symmetrical. They have setae, parapodia and suckers for locomotion. So these are the locomotory organs. Their body is covered with special cuticle, which is a hard covering. These animals are either hermaphrodite or unisexual, means some organisms of this phylum are with both the gametes and some are with only one gamete, means male and female are separate in unisexual organisms. Examples are earthworm, leech and nereis. Characteristics of four phyla. They are Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata and Hemichordata. Let's begin with phylum Arthropoda. These animals have joint appendages. Hence, they are called as arthropods. Our planet Earth has highest number of animals from this phylum. Hence, this is largest phylum with highly successful animals in animal kingdom. These animals are found in all types of habitats, ranging from deepest oceans to highest mountains. These animals are triploblastic. It means their embryo is made up of three germ layers: endoderm, ectoderm, and mesoderm. They are eocelomate, that is, with true body cavity. Bilaterally symmetrical means through only one plane of imaginary axis we can cut its body into two equal halves. And they are segmented, means body of these animals are divided into similar small units. Chitinous exoskeleton is present around their body. They are unisexual, means only one gamete, either male or female, is present in same organism. Examples are crab, spider, scorpio, millipede, centipede, cockroach, butterfly, honeybee, etc. Next phylum is Mollusca. Let's see the characteristics of phylum Mollusca. Body of these animals is soft and slimy. Hence they are referred as mollusk. It is second largest phylum in animals kingdom. These animals are aquatic or terrestrial. Most of the aquatic mollusks are marine, but few are freshwater dwellers too. Body of these animals is triploblastic, that is, in embryonic condition, embryo is made up of three germ layers: endoderm, ectoderm, and mesoderm. They are eocelomate, that is, with true body cavity. Body is non-segmented, means cannot divide into equal parts, and it is soft except animals like snail. They shows bilateral symmetry, means there is only one plane of imaginary axis through which we can get two equal parts of its body. Their body is divided into three regions like head, foot, and visceral mass. Visceral mass is covered with mantle. This mantle secretes a hard calcareous shells. This shell may be external or internal or even absent in some cases. These animals are unisexual. It means one organism possesses only one gamete, either male or female. Examples of mollusca are bivalve, snail, octopus, etc. Next phylum is Echinodermata. Let's study the characteristics of Echinodermata. On the body of these animals, calcareous spines are present. Hence, They are called echinoderms. These animals are found only in oceans. They are triploblastic, that is, their embryo possesses three germ layers: endoderm, ectoderm, and mesoderm. They are eocoelomate, that is, with true body cavity. They are radially symmetrical in adult stage. It means we may get two equal halves of their body through different plane of imaginary axis of the body. But they are bilaterally symmetrical in larval stage. That is, through only one plane of imaginary axis of the body, we may get two equal halves of its body. They perform locomotion with the help of tube feet. Tube feet are also useful for capturing their prey. They are sedentary, that they are attached to a substratum and cannot move. They have skeleton made up of calcareous spines and ossicles, which are also called as plates. These animals have good ability of regeneration, that is, they can regenerate their lost body parts. These animals are mostly unisexual, that is, they are either male or female. Examples are starfish, sea urchin, brittle star, sea cucumber, etc. Next phylum is Hemichordata. Let's study the characteristics of this phylum Hemichordata one by one. Body of these animals is divided into three parts as proboscis, collar, and trunk. Notochord is present in proboscis region only. Hence, they are called as hemichordates. These animals are also called as acorn worms. These are marine animals, live in burrows in sand. They have one to many pharyngeal gill slits. They are unisexual, or some may be hermaphrodite. Examples are Balanoglossus and Saccoglossus. Subkingdom Chordates. Main phylum is Chordata. This phylum Chordata is further divided into three subphylums. They are Urochordata, Cephalochordata, and Vertebrata. Let's see the characteristics of phylum Chordata. These animals have supporting notochord in their body. Notochord is present in the body during at least any developmental stage. Pharyngeal gill slits are present in the body during at least any developmental stage. Single tubular spinal cord is present on dorsal side of the body, that is, to the back side of the body. Heart is present on ventral side of body, that is, to the front side of body. Let's see the characteristics of subphylum Urochordata. These are marine animals. Their body is covered by skin-like test or tunic. Larvae of these animals are freely swimming and notochord is present in only tail region of larvae. Hence, they are called as Urochordata. Larvae metamorphose into adults after settling down at the bottom of the sea. Generally, these animals are hermaphrodite, means both the gametes are present in the same animal. Examples are Herdmania, Dolilome and Eucopleura. Let's see the characteristics of subphylum Cephalochordata. These are small fish-like marine animals. Notochord is present throughout the body length. Pharynx is very large and contains gill slits. These animals are unisexual and the example is Amphioxus. Let's see the characteristics of subphylum Vertebrata, which is also called as Craniata. In these animals, notochord is replaced by vertebral column. In these animals, head is well developed. Brain is protected by cranium bone. Endoskeleton is either cartilaginous or bony. Some chordates are jawless, they are agnatha, whereas some are with jaws, they are called as gnathostomata. We will be studying characteristics of 6 classes of subphylum Vertebrata. Subphylum Vertebrata is further classified into 6 classes. They are Cyclostomata, Pisces, Amphibia, Reptilia, Aves and Mammalia. Let's see the characteristics of class Cyclostomata. These animals have jawless mouth provided with sucker. Means jaws are completely absent. Instead of jaws, there is a sucker by which they can obtain their nutrition. Their skin is soft and without any scale. Paired appendages are absent. Means small legs are completely absent. Endoskeleton is cartilaginous. Most of the animals are ectoparasites. Means they live on the body of another organism to obtain their nutrition. And with the help of sucker, they get attached themselves on the body of another organism for obtaining their nutrition. Examples are petromyzon and myxine. Let's see the characteristics of class Pisces. These animals are cold-blooded and hence they are called as poikilotherms. It means They change their body temperature as per the change in the surrounding. These are aquatic animals living in marine and fresh waters. Body is spindle shaped to minimize water resistance. As these animals live inside the water, so to swim, their body is spindle shaped. They have paired and unpaired fins for swimming. Tail fin is useful as a steering organ during swimming, means to change the direction. Exoskeleton is in the form of scales and endoskeleton is either cartilaginous or sometimes bony. Respiration occurs with gills. Examples are rohu, pomfret, seahorse, shark, electric ray, stingray, etc. Let's study the characteristics of class Amphibia. These animals are strictly aquatic during larval life. It means after hatching larva from the egg, the development of larva completely it is done inside of the water only. Means complete development of larval stage is carried out inside the water and perform only aquatic respiration in the larval stage, whereas they can live in water as well as on the land during adult life and can perform aquatic as well as aerial respiration. They have two pairs of appendages. Digits are without claws, means muscular membrane is absent in between two digits. Exoskeleton is absent. Skin is without any derivative and usually kept moist for respiration. External air is absent but tympanum is present. It means air drum is present in the form of tympanum. Neck is absent and eyes are prominent with eyelids, means bigger in size. Examples are frog, toad, salamander, etc. See the characteristics of next class, Reptilia. According to the course of animal evolution, these are first true terrestrial animals with creeping movement. These are cold-blooded, that they are poikilotherms. They creep on the land as their body cannot be lifted up. Their skin is dry and scaly. Neck is present between head and trunk. External air is absent. Digits are provided with claws. means muscular membrane is present in between two digits. Examples are tortoise, lizard, snake, etc. Next class is class Aves. Let's see the characteristics of this class. These animals are completely adapted for aerial life. These are warm-blooded animals, means they are homeotherms. It means they can maintain their body temperature constant in spite of any change in the atmospheric temperature. Their body is spindle shaped to minimize air resistance during flight. Forelimbs are modified into wings. Digits are covered with scales and bear claws. Exoskeleton is present in the form of feathers. Neck is present between head and trunk. Jaws of these animals are modified into beak. Examples are peacock, parrot, pigeon, duck, penguin, etc. The last class is class Mammalia. Let's see the characteristics of this class. Presence of mammary glands is typical character of Mammalia. It means because of mammary glands, these animals are able to feed their children through their milk. These animals are warm-blooded, that they are homeotherms, means they can maintain their body temperature always constant. Body is divided into head, neck, trunk and tail. Digits are provided with nails, claws or hooves. Exoskeleton is in the form of hairs or fur. Examples are elephant, human, kangaroo, dolphin, bat, etc.